Welcome to the Bloom Room.
Hi, and welcome to the Bloom Room, where Black business blooms and stories shine. I'm your host, Shanae Marie. Today we have Erika McCullough, founder of Tree of Elm. Erika, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Hey, you're welcome. It's my pleasure. Glad to be here.
So before we jump into the questions, if you could just give our audience a quick breakdown, what is Tree of Elm?
Tree of Elm is a one-stop shop for senior living needs and also real estate. It is combined for both businesses to thrive for the senior community.
How do you even get started in a business like this?
So the process was definitely not challenging, but I would say that it was more so process of elimination, what worked, what didn't. And I had the opportunity to actually go through a lot of what I do with my own mom. So 6 months after I opened the placement business, I was faced with having to actually place my own mom into an assisted living facility. It's different when you are doing it for a client who you understand the logistics and you're helping them make the best decision for themselves. But when it comes to having to do it for your own mom, it was a lot more of raw emotions that were involved, and that was a little bit challenging. But what it did do was open my eyes to the side of the business that required the real estate transaction. My mom ended up going to the hospital and never being able to return to her home. So it was me take 30 years of belongings to sort through them, to figure out what to leave, what to keep, what to discard, what to donate, and having the emotion of her being in the hospital and also knowing that she was gonna have to go to rehab after, and also having to be in charge of this move was devastating when I was going through it.
And I'm sure overwhelming.
Very much so. I was scared I was gonna end up in the hospital because I felt so many. It was emotional, but physically straining. Having still the business, but also having to do all of those things for my mom was very challenging.
Anxiety alone.
I remember it was around Thanksgiving. My family was like, "What are we eating for Thanksgiving?" I didn't care if we ate peanut butter and jelly.
You're like,
because is it Thanksgiving?
Right.
And it was just overwhelming to say the least. I got my mom settled into her new facility and then gradually went back to my helping the clients and the people that I serve. But then I kept running into other people needing the real estate side of the business. I started seeing how much money that was being left on the table from my business, but also that seniors didn't want to deal with somebody else.
Right.
They wanted me to solve all of their problems.
So one-stop shop.
Yes. So they kept saying, "Well, what about the house?" And I'm like, "Oh, I have someone that can help with that." And they were like, "But you do so good at this. We want you to help with the house too." I think after my second client that told me that, I was in real estate school immediately. This needs to be handled in a proper way. And not that people that I was referring out to business for real estate couldn't help them, but they weren't able to solve the true problem, which is really their stuff. Their belongings matter to them. And they weren't necessarily being handled with the care that they would want it to be handled. So I would say within 3 months, I had my real estate license.
Queen behavior. And it's funny, y'all, we have not jumped into any of these written questions at all. We are freestyling right now, but I love it. So I imagine that having your personal experience with your mom, that it probably is such a relief to your clients to know that you are coming from a personal experience, that it's not just, this is what I think you need.
Absolutely.
I went through this myself.
Absolutely. That is, when it was happening, I was mad that I was going through it. It was, why me? Why am I going through this? I'm trying to get this business off the ground. And as we got through it, I realized it was supposed to be me.
You knew exactly what it is that they needed to feel a little bit of relief, maybe relief that you yourself couldn't get at that time, wishing you had the resources that you are now providing.
I was like, where was me when I needed me?
What a vulnerable place to be in when family things are always so sacred and most oftentimes very private, and we want to keep it private. But to be able to find a person who does what you do is trustworthy, I can only imagine the emotional connection and trust that you build. So they look at you like you're part of the family now.
I closed a deal on a house Wednesday. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Me and the family were sitting at the table like, is this it? You know, like, we have to stay in touch.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working with them since May, and they trusted the Tree of Elm's process. Okay, we finally got to the table, but now what?
Yeah, I was like, what was your happy hour or something?
Yes.
Like, this can't just end here.
Yes, it was more like, oh my God, I have to call you once a week at least, or maybe once a month. We have to stay in touch. Yeah.
So I know you said that you started speaking with them in May. About how long is the normal process from start to finish? From they're coming to you, they need your resources, to their parent is either now downsized or in a new place. About how long does that normally take?
It depends. When this family in particular, they reached out to me actually in November of 2024. The family couldn't get her out of the house. They were like, she's not gonna do it. And I'm like, listen, let me come talk to her. So I went over in May, from November to May. I went over in May, finally getting a chance to speak to her directly. And I'm telling you, from May, that was May, and then she went to see the community that she wanted to live in like 2 weeks later, and she moved in the first week of July.
You have the gift of persuasion.
They called me the senior whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
And all the thing that I did was tell her what I went through.
Yeah,
that was it.
I think it allows them to see it probably from their daughter's standpoint, or like their children's standpoint. Like, oh, this isn't just about this silent issues that I'm going through that shouldn't be a big deal. No, like this is so much bigger than you, and you're able to
paint
that picture.
It was like, don't you want to take back your power? And she was like, yeah.
Like, you know what? Hell yeah.
Yes. I was like, when you are in a controlled environment and you are able to you're able to help yourself do it.
So would you say that there's apprehension at first when you come in as a strong, powerful, beautiful goddess Black woman, right? And you without saying it, I feel like if you know what it is that I'm speaking on.
Yeah.
A lot of times we can be judged, or even if we do know it, it's not, oh, I'm so glad that you're coming to me with these resources. It's you're a know-it-all, and like I have to show you I know more. There's a certain energy that comes, but would you say that it is the deep sense of I have been through this too, and that it drops that guard for them?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I can't tell you how many families I'll do show up. And I'm like, listen, we're on the phone, but I need to talk to you. I need to see you in person. I need to meet you. I need to shake your hand. I need to talk to your parent. My energy coming through the door is a safe space for them. And I don't even know why. I'm not doing anything besides being my authentic self. But just me showing up to be who I am is met with just the guard comes down.
I'm going to change that because you said I'm not doing anything, but you are. Because a lot of people can't show up in a space and be their authentic selves. They are shaped by the people that they surround themselves. So it depends on the room that they're in.
Yeah.
That is how they operate.
Yeah.
But when you have such an amazing, beautiful sense of self and a deep sense of self, it doesn't matter who's in the room, what's in the room, their background, none of that. You can show up as your authentic self. So that is more than something.
When you've lived in a house for 30 plus years, even 15 years, no
2 years.
You just accumulate stuff.
So much stuff,
And, when you're going through the belongings and the things and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do with this? Or you're finding baby pictures or your kids' art that you've held on for years. What am I supposed to do with this stuff? It will make you not make the best decision for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can wait a little bit longer. Yeah. Oh, it's not that bad.
Or, child, you might be like me. Throw it all away.
That's me. I'm throw it all away.
Throw it all away.
I'm queen, throw it in the trash.
Okay? The whole pot. I'm talking, if I see even a little bit of something in that pot in the fridge, it's throw it in the trash.
I'm queen, throw it in the trash. My husband's always like, you throw everything in the trash, but you don't need it.
And there's not a Walmart or a Target.
Exactly. And we probably needed a new one anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. But for that generation, for my baby boomers, they are not as easily able to just throw things in the trash.
I think it's attachment style.
They're
very attached to.
I think that there's a sense of not having for so long that I need to hold on to this because if I let it go, I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy it again. Even though they have the most money.
Right. Yeah.
What's triggering for me is that I pretty much threw all of her stuff in the trash can besides the pictures. And that's all I had left. So what's triggering for me is that when I'm working with other people and families, I'm actually helping them decide what they should keep and what should they let go of, when I just threw all my mom's stuff in the trash can.
So when you find yourself triggered, right? How do you, is it where you have to step away, or is it just like a moment where you just got to deep breathe and you continue? Or?
I take a deep breath and I'll just say, there again, I remind myself that there is purpose in my pain.
Yeah.
So I just take that deep breath and I keep going. I may go home and talk to my husband about it. Hey, this was really, I wish I could have did this for my mom. I wish I could have did this better for my mom. But he's always reminding me, like, but you're doing it for other people, and that was the purpose of what you went through.
And in that moment, you did what you could.
I did what I could with the tools I had.
Yeah. But shout out to hubby for being a safe space for all the emotions.
Yes,
that is
absolutely,
beautiful. Yeah. So if somebody wanted to tap into Tree of Elm and use your resources, what would be the best way to go about that?
Just going to my website, giving me a call. I do free consultations. We sit down and we unpack, what the actual need is. And even if the need isn't like right now, Tree of Elm is also educational. So we are here to educate our people. You can't fault yourself for what you don't know.
Right.
And that was something that I had to be, transparent with my own self about. Like, hey, I didn't have the resources. I didn't know. So I actually give them the resources. Sometimes people may not, I might talk to somebody a year ago, and then they come back a year later and say, Erika, I didn't forget you. I need your help. We're at that point where mom can't do this anymore. Or they start referring me to their friends. Oh, such and such needs help. They're going through, a struggle. Can you call them? Can you help them? And even if I can't help them in that moment, I have a team. I call them my team. Like, I have a pool of vendors that could help them. Even if Tree of Elm doesn't offer the service, I know who does. Yeah. And it doesn't stop like after the home is sold or they're placed. A lot of times people's assets aren't protected. So I am connected with a great attorney that will help them protect their assets. After the sale of the home, what do you do with the money? What does it look like when they have the money in their hand? Because a lot of times they own their houses, right, with no mortgage. So what do you do with this money? You don't want to just put it in a bank account and just leave it there. And, God knows what happens. Who's going to get it when someone passes, and if it's going to go through probate, and you don't want to get there. You want to put it in trust. So I'm actually connecting them to services they needed outside of the sale of the home.
treeofelm.com?
Yep.
Okay. treeofelm.com. And then how can they find you on Instagram?
Tree of Elm.
Tree of Elm. So everything Tree of Elm. So they can Google Tree of Elm. It'll come up.
If you Google Tree of Elm.
Erika McCullough.
My name. Yep. If you look up, on Instagram and Facebook, Tree of Elm.
Words of advice that you would give someone who is approaching that time, that it's time for them to make certain decisions? What advice would you give them?
Well, the first one is to call me. Outside of that, you need to understand your parents' assets. One of the biggest struggles that I had was my mother couldn't remember any of her passwords.
Oh my God.
So
my problem too.
Yeah, she was traumatized, and not being able to go back home and being told that by a doctor or your team, it was traumatizing for her. Yeah. She couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember anything. We were a disaster together. Oh my gosh, yeah. So knowing what your parents' assets are, understanding, what their wishes are. Hey, what if they already have it all planned out? What if they don't? Just sit down and talk with them about it. Bring me in. Hey, I have Erika who can sit down and meet with us and talk to us about what those senior living options are. Maybe I don't want to leave my home. Maybe I want to stay here and, design my home for my comfort, for aging. Okay, let's talk about reverse mortgages. Let's talk about, home modifications. Let's talk about what it looks like to actually stay here. Let's talk about that too.
Because we can't pretend like this is not going to happen.
We cannot pretend. And unfortunately, I will say that 85% of the African American community are not prepared. And so they are the people that I serve the most. that are in emergency situations.
I feel like it starts with education, and it starts with this idea of pretending certain things don't exist. We gotta stop doing that. We gotta lean into it, educate ourselves. The more prepared we are, I feel the less fearful we are.
Absolutely. Like other nationalities have no problem with talking about death. Right. We are like, oh no, they're not gonna die. They could be 90 years old. No, they're gonna be around forever. Let's not
be delusional.
Yeah, let's actually be realistic about the likelihood of that we're all gonna die.
The woman you are.
Listen, I had no idea I was gonna be here.
Yeah, but hearing you speak on it, you could obviously, it's so obvious that you were coming from such an educated, knowledgeable place, but you put it in a way where I hope that anybody who watches this, that there's a switch in your brain about certain things, like an aha moment that maybe you haven't even thought about before. And I just really appreciate you being here with me today.
This was
what
wonderful.
a lovely conversation this has been. I don't think we followed anything.
I don't think we did.
No.
Having that raw, uncut conversation is really what people need to hear.
Yeah.
You're not alone. It's not going to be easy, but we will get through it.
As an entrepreneur, you are running this business. You are a wife.
Yes.
You wear so many hats.
Yeah.
As we know, this is presented by the Buy Black Networking Group, Baltimore. What advice do you have for other entrepreneurs? If there is any words of wisdom, anything that you can give to someone who's just starting off, or maybe they've been in the business, but they're just losing that motivation, they're losing hope. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs who are watching this?
I would say the biggest thing that, there's a couple of things. Never compare yourself to anyone else. Your story is your story. The blood, sweat, and tears that you put in your business is going to prevail. With whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. Number one. If I could do this again, let's say if I had the opportunity to do it again, I would probably scale differently. With putting more resources in place. We all want to be business owners, but I don't want to be a hustler.
Yes.
Nothing's
worse than owning a business and feeling like a worker. You want to feel like the CEO.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So right now what I'm doing is actually putting things in place so that I don't feel like that I'm chasing. I don't like a chase. And I would say that, having the systems in place and, of course, having some financial backing to be able to help you put the systems in place are important. You can't run with an idea and don't have a plan. You have to have a plan in order to be successful.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Well, Erika, thank you so much for being on the Bloom Room. Like I said, this has been just eye-opening and just so refreshing. What a beautiful conversation. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, this is the Bloom Room. I am Shanae Marie, your host, and this is Erika McCullough, founder of Tree of Elm. Be sure to check her out, guys. She said everything is Tree of Elm, so that is treeofelm.com, Tree of Elm on social media. If you cannot find her there, just look up Erika McCullough. I will have her tagged on this video. And yes, if you would like to be on the Bloom Room, please email me at theoryandbloom@gmail.com. I would love to interview you. I would love to hear your story. And shout out to the Buy Black Networking Group Baltimore for having us and sponsoring us. And until next time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Bloom Room, Entrepreneur Edition, where Black business blooms and stories shine. Be sure to follow Erika McCullough and Tree of Elm for all of your senior care placement and support services. Stay tuned for our next guest, Frances Cuesta, founder and CEO of Reinvent You Spa and Wellness. This series is brought to you by Buy Black Network in Baltimore and Theory and Bloom. Interested in sharing your story? Email me today at theoryandbloom@gmail.com. Until next time.